Please, don't try what you're about to see at home.
Well, there's your problem.
In this special series of MythBusters,
Almost too exciting.
the Dream Team tackles their dream themes.
It's scientific!
Testing myths about everything from electricity to pressure and gravity.
This one hurt a bit.
Shaking down the science of shockwaves, velocity, and impact. With crazy chemistry,
Oh my goodness.
far-out physics,
Fun for the whole family.
and insane explosions.
Is everybody okay?
Life's burning questions answered. On MythBusters, there's your problem. This episode, the MythBusters take the plunge into 3 water-based myths, including if a ninja could really fire a blow dart while underwater.
That's without cheating.
Then they head to the surface to take on some truly extreme weather events, like could hail sink a boat?
It's coming down in buckets.
And could you build a portable tornado shield?
Okay, everyone be quiet. It's Jamie's nap time now.
Our first story is a frothy one.
Well, there's a myth going around that it is impossible to swim in bubbly water.
Sounds like we're going for a swim.
I think so.
According to the myth, the bubbles make water less dense, meaning if it's extra fizzy, you sink like a stone. To test the theory out, they need to make an underwater bubble generator.
So all we've done here is welded together a couple of heavy steel frames, and we've sandwiched inside the frames a pillowcase. We're pumping air into that pillowcase, and as it pressurizes, it comes through the weave of the fabric.
That's great.
It makes little bubbles.
But we need just a little more water.
So we've come back out here to this 10,000-gallon tank that we installed a few years ago, and we're gonna put a larger bubbler in it, and Adam's gonna go for a swim. Or not.
The water tower is said to become a fizzing cauldron of scientific discovery, if only they can figure out how to get the bubble maker into it. Oh yeah, they'll just use that crane.
So our bubbler is just about ready to be put in place. That's a tight fit. Okay, stop. What happens next is that we hook up the air supply. And then we slowly lower it to the bottom of this tank, which is full of reasonably clear but quite cold water. Then I will put on some scuba gear, and then we're pretty much ready to do this test, which I hope happens quickly because this water right now is about 50, 51 degrees.
50 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a spine-chilling 10 degrees Celsius.
Bon voyage.
All right, here we go.
How's the water?
The water is so cold, I got an instant headache. But you know what's really cool in here?
What?
Looking out the portholes.
As the rig roars into life, a perfect hubbub of bubbles bursts forth.
It's a gorgeous stream of bubbles.
With Adam weighted so he's neutrally buoyant, once the bubbles are turned on, he should start to sink.
Oh, here they come! Whoa! Whoa!
Adam does go under, but not quite as planned. He first gets pushed to the side, and only then does he sink.
I'll tell you, it's not making me sink like a stone, but it is creating this really strong current that's throwing me to the side, and I feel like it's dragging me down a little bit.
The bubbles are creating an upwelling, pushing Adam off the side into the wall. And without bursting the boy's bubble,
It's like riding a Bronco.
methinks it's time for a rethink.
Well, I don't feel like we can call it on the basis of this tank. I think it's actually too small. This current being everything, it sort of overwhelms the original story, which is about bubbles. So I feel like we need to create more bubbles in a much bigger space.
It's go big or go bust. To attempt to negate the effect of the pool edge, they're going to upgrade to a full-sized swimming pool with a supersized bubbler. Jamie welds the massive steel frame, while Adam sews the giant canvas bubbler bag.
You know what it looks like? It looks like the world's largest whoopee cushion. We built a bubbler that will give us a swath of bubbles 4 feet wide and 16 feet long.
We've got I-beams on it to hold it down against the flotation. We've got a massive steel frame, the big bladder, and not one, but 2 air pumps to supply all the air we need. We drop it in the pool, and you got yourself a big-ass bubbler.
It is big, but will it be big enough to eliminate those supposed edge effects? To find out, Adam, designated to do the wet work, goes under to guide it into position and make sure it's level. But there's a problem.
Cut the air.
Luckily, Adam was clear of the rig when it made an unexpected and dangerous break for the surface.
Not enough weight. The whole thing started to float.
Well, that's why we brought the barbells. I'll start to break them out.
With an additional 100 pounds in each corner, totaling 2,000 pounds,
Stop. Cut the air.
again the bubbler rears from the bottom like a leviathan hell-bent on destruction. Time to quit? Not quite.
This is just a minor setback. All we need are heavier I-beams or bars of steel of some sort to put on this thing. We'll be able to weight it down. We'll fix it.
They add 4,200 pounds of weight holding down the bubbler.
That's perfect. Nothing's budging. It looks gorgeous.
Excellent.
They've tamed the bubbling beast. Now it's time for the real test. First, Adam will do a no bubbles lap.
Our first test is the control. Without turning the bubbler on, I'm going to swim from here across the pool and back.
And I'll take a reading on the stopwatch.
Once we've got that timing, we're going to turn the bubbler on. I'm going to do the same thing again and see if there's any difference. Have I mentioned this pool is not heated?
Okay, swimming without bubbles. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Adam sets off. It's safe to say he's not going to break any Olympic records, but the time he sets on this lap will be compared to the time he does when the bubbles are on. And by the way, yes, it is a little weird that he kept his glasses on. But let's not go there.
I got 29.84 seconds. Let's call it an even 30 seconds.
Which means it's time to fire up the generator, blow some bubbles, and see if Adam's swim will be affected by those millions of pockets of air.
Okay, swimming with bubbles. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Glasses firmly in place again. On the first lap, Adam powers through the bubbles. But on the way back, it's not so easy. Just like the previous test, the upwelling current pushes him to the side.
Okay.
32.5 seconds.
That's a lot. That's like 8%. It does seem to be more difficult to swim in bubbly water, and the timings we've been taking from my testing seem to bear that out. So given that there might be a grain of truth to this story, that it might be more difficult but not impossible to swim in bubbly water, we're going to ramp it up as far as we can go.
That's more like it. And that means we're going to go full power with those compressors. We'll see what happens.
Wow, that's a lot of bubbles.
Full-scale bubble test. In 3, 2, 1, go.
With the dial turned to 11, the forces Adam has to deal with are obvious. Despite looking quite serene below, there's nothing cruisy about this jacuzzi. And the current's too strong to swim across.
Swim harder. You're just not trying hard enough. Stop screwing around.
We started out with a myth about it being impossible to swim in bubbly water, the conventional wisdom being that bubbles make the water less dense and thus you would sink, when in fact it turns out the bubbles create this churning upwelling of current as they rise to the surface, and it is the current and not the bubbles that makes it, in fact, impossible to swim in bubbly water. I love being surprised by results like that. Well, that's pretty neat. We had a build that was more difficult than we thought, a surprise ending, and a myth that is, I gotta say, plausible, but not for the reasons we originally thought.
In our second story, Carrie, Tori, and Grant are diving into a very different water-based myth.
This is a classic ninja myth that's all about assassination.
But this is specifically an underwater ambush.
So imagine you have a target. The only time he's unprotected is when he takes his morning walk by the lake.
Okay.
So you grab some poison darts and a blowgun, you hang out underneath the water, and when your target walks by, you attack.
According to ninja lore, a shadow warrior could slip into a pond, stay hidden for hours, breathing through a blow tube. When the target finally turns up, the ninja fires a poison dart with deadly accuracy.
Okay, this is gonna be tough.
Well, if it was easy being a ninja, anybody could do it.
First step, we need to find out if Tori can withstand one of water's especially dangerous characteristics.
Stop right there, that's good.
Its ability to chill the human body.
Today, we're going to test exposure to cold water. And to do that, Tori has kindly volunteered to jump into our tank of 66-degree temperature water.
That's 19 degrees Celsius. If that was an air temperature, it wouldn't feel cold.
Here you go, buddy.
Ew, it smells too.
But because water is a better conductor than air, it draws heat away from the body more efficiently.
Well, apparently, ninjas used to rub animal fat all over their bodies and then put a leather suit on before they got into cold water to act as like a wetsuit. Great, not only am I uncomfortable, I look like a complete idiot.
This is the ninja hood. This
Do I
part
really
goes...
have to wear this?
Well, this
Yeah.
is...
I mean, really.
Yes, you do, Tori. You lose up to 50% of your body heat through your head.
All right, you're gonna write on this board how you feel. 1 is you're okay, you're good to go, all the way up to 10, which is I think I've got hypothermia, get me out of here now.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
So well does water extract heat from our bodies, just 2 hours in water this cold could prove fatal. And just 10 minutes in, Tori's already struggling.
Let's ask him what number he's at.
5. He's colder.
In water this cold, Tori's losing body heat 32 times faster than he would normally. Paramedics are on standby.
His breathing's really getting ragged.
And the shaking's getting worse.
Oh, he's coming up. He's coming up. Okay.
Okay.
After an hour, this ninja's had enough.
Oh, that's it.
All right. Now, given that Tori's just a regular guy of average health, that is a very good performance.
It was harder than I thought it was going to be. The longer I was in there, the harder it was to breathe.
So it seems a ninja could tolerate cold water long enough to become an underwater assassin. But how feasible is their supposed weapon of choice?
I think as far as making blow darts goes, I'm totally going to kick ass.
The team has vowed to use only authentic natural materials, so it's not easy.
Bamboo grows in sections with joints, so you have to remove the bumps and notches to make sure the dart won't catch in the barrel or lose air around the sides.
Tori and Grant are done. But Carrie's decided to bend the rules a little.
You may have noticed I put a metal tube inside of my bamboo blowgun, and that might be considered cheating. I mean, metal is natural. It does come from this earth, so not entirely cheating. Okay, and whoever gets the closest gets to be the master ninja.
All right, here's dart number 1.
Tori gets 3 darts close, but no hits.
You're really accurate if you're aiming for the background.
Now, Grant's natural material blowgun has had a last-minute alteration.
Well, if you want accuracy, you should try
All right.
the laser sight. Grant's got a laser sight on him.
Wait a minute.
I know!
Did ninjas have lasers?
Hey, no, modern ninjas do.
Laser sights have some advantages and some drawbacks.
Oh, don't look out in the barrel! Don't look down the barrel! Oh!
It's a self-sabotaging blow dart gun.
With Grant down and out, all hopes rest on Carrie.
Oh! In the face! Oh!
That is in the exact center.
She's like a ninja.
Aw!
The boys are mystified until
I totally cheated. I've got a tube in there.
What?
What? Oh, you didn't know cheated! Coming from the man with the laser sight!
See that? That's without cheating.
with the blowguns finished, next they'll head out to the pool, where they'll have to battle more of water's troublesome effects.
This is where it gets really hard, because underwater, refraction's gonna distort your aim.
And even if you could overcome the refraction, you still have to load the dart in the blowgun while breathing.
All right, get in the water.
The problem for our assassin will be that the Emperor she's aiming at isn't where he appears to be. That's because light travels at different speeds through water and air, getting bent as it passes from one to the other, a process called refraction. Although she's still a dead-eye shot above water,
That's right where I was going for.
under the water, Carrie is guessing where to fire.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
She's missed by a mile.
It's really blurry.
Whoa! You hit the pole.
It was high.
Yeah, lower your aim a little
Oh,
bit.
wow. I thought it was way lower than that.
All right, refraction, aim test, take 3.
So will it be third time lucky?
Whoa!
Oh, that's a great shot.
A really good shot, and that was only your 3rd try.
Ah, the sweet smell of success.
The refraction test went so much better than I expected. I thought that maybe I could hit the target, but I didn't think I could sit underwater, see the target, and really aim for it.
In 3, 2, 1. Well, now we've tested all the elements. Now the final test is to see if we can load our dart underneath the water and then fire and hit our target.
Trouble is, once you take your mouth away, pressure makes the water rush in. And your blowgun becomes a water pistol.
I shot mine first, so I got to see what happened with both of yours. All the darts went really low, and yours didn't even make it out of the pool.
It's a blow to the myth. But Carrie could have the solution.
I was thinking of this. You've only got poison at the tip, right? So what if you have the end in your mouth, and you kind of hold on to it like this with your teeth, and then you breathe through your teeth, and then you load it. That way there's never a water transition.
Sure, whatever works.
You want to try that?
We need to assassinate this guy. Okay.
So let's pucker up and see if breathing through clenched teeth is the ninja way to liquidate.
Oh, yeah! He did it! Yeah! Ninja! Yeah!
And it's not long before everyone starts hitting their groove.
Woo! He's assassinated!
Oh, I hit him in the face!
We got him!
Yeah!
This is totally plausible. We covered all the elements.
You can survive the exposure to the cold.
And you can overcome refraction.
And you can breathe underwater while firing a blowgun.
The blow dart experiment was phenomenal. This is actually a plausible ninja myth. I'm completely surprised.
While water may be a ninja's best friend, it can be a bridge worker's worst enemy. For our third story, the MythBusters are at an old Navy shipyard with a giant crane.
Wow.
Snug as a bug in a rug up here.
To test the myth that if a bridge worker falls from a huge height into water, they might be able to survive by dropping a hammer in to break their fall.
I guess this is based on the idea that if you fall from a really large height, hitting water is pretty much like hitting concrete. I mean, it doesn't move out of the way like we expect it to. It actually resists impact at that speed.
Yeah, and so by throwing a weight in front of you, you're going to break the surface tension or possibly simply aerate the water to where it slows your deceleration down. You don't stop so quickly because that stop is what kills you.
So we'll take the dummy to the top of this crane and drop him into the water a bunch of times?
That's it. Dummy's going to go swimming.
Adam is about to fit the crash test dummy buster with a device that measures the energy generated by sudden stops.
We've got to put this in his head or in his torso, wherever it will fit. This is an accelerometer. This will measure the G-force when he hits the water. Do you want to get hit in the head? You're going to anyway.
Poor Buster. The torture for him begins with Adam carving out extra room inside him to fit the accelerometer.
I like this. I'm quite pleased with this.
I just tested all the systems of the accelerometer, and they're all a go. So it's now recording events. It's probably recorded more than a few jostles on the way out here.
Although not as dense as the ground, water is still dense enough to create a fatal impact. They're going to drop Buster from 180 feet.
He looks good. Take him all the way up.
First, they're going to drop him without the hammer. A guide wire will keep Buster on target. And if Buster's having second thoughts, it's officially too late.
Okay, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, no. Poor guy. Oh, no, no, no.
The force of the impact blows Buster's leg off. And if you've ever questioned Adam's dedication, I ask you, what other TV host would strip down to his underwear and jump into murky cold water to search for a crash test dummy's limb?
Oh, God.
I had absolutely no success finding the leg. I'm really disappointed about that. I really wanted to come up holding the leg. That would have been beautiful. I did a good effort, but it's gone.
And Buster's bad day is about to get worse.
3, 2, 1, go.
When, on the next drop, his remaining leg abandons ship.
Whoa! He's completely trashed. The cast aluminum of his thigh bone right here absolutely just shattered in contact with the water. It's pretty obvious that from that height, you're completely screwed.
But for a consistent experiment, they need a consistent weight. So they decide to start the whole thing over, this time with a legless Buster.
We'll do a control without legs and without a hammer, and then we'll do another one with the hammer. All cameras are rolling. It's a go.
3, 2, 1, go.
That's so radically hardcore.
Now it's hammer time. Will the froth it creates reduce the water density enough to prove the myth?
We're ready on your count.
3, 2, 1, go.
Even with the hammer falling first, Buster still registered 239 Gs. The average car crash is just 70 Gs.
3, 2, 1, go.
The Gs increase on the next drop.
You know, if I was a crash test dummy, I think that would have hurt more than any of the other falls.
Go.
And an almost identical result for the final hammer drop.
Go.
To get a full data set, they take the hammer off and drop Buster twice more.
Oh!
It's not looking good for Buster or the myth.
We got a good control of 3 drops without the hammer and 3 drops with the hammer. That's a reasonable data set to make an assessment. Yeah, there's effectively no difference in the length of that curve, just between 200 and 300 Gs. Even if the hammer helped a little bit, when he hits the water, he's going 60 miles per hour plus, which is like twice the speed that they test auto crashes at.
And then bottom line, our data doesn't show any effect of the hammer at all.
No, it doesn't. I would say that this myth is busted.
I'd agree.
While water can definitely make an impact,
That would have been beautiful.
for a true disaster, you need meteorological mayhem. Cue the first of our weather-related myths.
What do we got?
All right. So the myth is that during a tornado, glass can get sucked out of a window and travel so fast that if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time,
Let me translate. Could glass whipped up by a tornado really cut off a person's head? Don't worry, they won't be using a real human neck. Instead, they get a pork neck and sew on a fake head. Meet Neckman.
So our plan is pretty simple. We're gonna take turns flinging panes of glass at Neckman. And this is the glass. It measures 12 inches by 12 inches by 1/8 inch thick. But most importantly, it conforms to the residential building code of houses that are actually in Tornado Alley.
The only thing cruder than this test is Carrie's aim.
That was not anywhere close to the net.
Holy crap! Are we
we gonna need to order some more glass?
The problem here is not just accuracy, it's speed. Maxing out at a disappointing 30 miles an hour means Carrie's not even reaching a 4-0 tornado. Next up to the plate, it's Grant's turn.
I guess you can have a worse shot.
You guys okay? Everybody okay?
Grant's faster, but no better at aiming. If he can just get focused.
Whoa, nice shot.
Yeah, nice shot. Still not enough to cut the head off.
It may indeed have been a giant pain in the neck, but a decapitation at 50 miles an hour, it wasn't. Tori is this test's last shot.
Here we go.
Correct shot.
That was great.
Tori nails the perfect shot, but the high speed reveals a very imperfect result.
Look at that, you got 68 miles an hour.
And it hit right on the neck. But look at it. The glass just completely shatters. I mean, it was going fast, and we hit it, but it didn't cut the head off.
The Force 1 tornado pane hits dead center, but it's the glass that gives way and not the neck, meaning with this glass and this method, decapitation is impossible.
I mean, throwing a piece of glass accurately, even at low speeds, is very difficult, and the pieces of glass keep shattering.
All right, well, what if we try this? What if we take our head and neck, put it on the runway, and then we attach a sheet of glass to a vehicle horizontally, drive at the neck, and then release the glass before it hits the neck?
Yes.
I love it, let's do it.
Out at the runway, Grant's figured out they won't have to drive as fast as a tornado to run a decent test.
What we can do is simulate the kinetic energy of a smaller piece of glass flying at those speeds using this giant piece of glass. This has a lot more mass. Now this piece, traveling at only 80 miles per hour, has the same kinetic energy as our smaller piece, traveling at over 300 miles per hour. I call that extreme tornado speed.
Grant's right, and it's over to Carrie to explain why.
Tori's 450-gram pane of glass flung at 70 miles an hour had a kinetic energy of around 220 joules. If that glass had been traveling at an F5 tornado speed of 300 miles an hour, it would have had the energy of over 4,000 joules. Now, because the truck can only drive 80 miles an hour, to get a 4,000 joule hit, you need a heavier piece of glass. So how heavy? 6.5 kilograms. But will that cause a decapitation?
That's one big piece of Tornado Alley code glass. And to put it to work, Tori's built a rig that looks lethal.
So this is the Super Tornado Decapitation Rig. So I built this steel structure that we've attached to the truck. On the end of it is a piece of glass being held oh so gently by these foam blocks. When we hit the neck, the styrofoam will break and the glass will act as if it's flying through the air.
With Neckman's neck on the line,
Holy mackerel! Look at that tornado!
it's all systems go.
Yeah!
You ready?
Ready?
Okay, this is Neckman versus the large piece of glass in 3, 2, 1.
Not wanting the glass to slip loose, Tori gently accelerates up to 80 miles an hour.
Here it comes. That's what I was gonna say.
Now is the time I feel compelled to yell, duck!
No!
Whoa! Wow, that was almost no hesitation whatsoever.
That was gruesome. I mean, there was no resistance. The head just came off.
All right, let's check it out.
But after looking at the high speed, they're worried that even with the hair trigger on the clasp, the momentum of the car is having an effect. So it's back to the shop to devise a new method of accelerating glass to tornado speed.
So how exactly are we going to accelerate a piece of glass very quickly? Well, the first step is to take a bunch of these caster wheels and flip them upside down like this, so that we have a low-friction surface to slide our glass on. It's like a little conveyor belt for potentially deadly glass. At the end of this line, these two tires
Go on an axle, which is connected to an electric motor. Yeah, that ought to do it. That's going to spin at really high speed. Now, a second set of wheels is going to go on top, and that's going to form a sandwich. You're going to love this. So that when the sheet of glass comes in, the wheels are going to catch it and send it out at tornado speed.
Now, we're hoping that this machine is going to actually help us with our speed and accuracy. But like most of Grant's truly intimidating-looking rigs, we don't know what it's going to do until we do a few tests.
And that glass is going to be twice as thick and twice as heavy as the glass the guys first threw.
All right, calibration test, full power.
And go! Woohoo!
Yes.
Maybe too much power.
Instead of throwing the glass, the machine smashed it to smithereens.
Shoot.
That was awesome.
But a quick nip and tuck, and it's good for take 2.
3, 2, 1.
The machine worked like a charm, flinging the window wannabe at 70 miles an hour. And that means it's Neckman's curtain call.
Chin up, buddy. It's very important. Keep your chin up for this one.
You ready to get your head cut off?
All right, fire it up. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. I think we've got decapitation.
That is unquestionable.
We did it. We confirmed this myth. We got decapitation. It's incredible to think that a small piece of glass with hardly any mass at all, going only 70 miles an hour, which is a mild tornado, is enough to cut your head off.
Now, we know one of the ways strong winds can kill you. But next, Adam and Jamie are going to investigate how to survive a tornado.
So our question is, how are you going to keep yourself from getting blown away in a strong wind?
Storm chasers usually opt for an armored vehicle. But if you're outside with nowhere to run or hide, then surely you're toast. Well, not if the MythBusters can somehow build a personal tornado protection device. Their device will need to be portable, protect from flying debris, and handle winds of at least F3 intensity, or 135 miles per hour. If they don't get this right, it'll be quite a blow to the MythBusters' egos.
The plan is this. I'm going to be making what amounts to a low-slung, it's my baby, streamlined and very heavily armored tent. Oh, yeah. Now it's starting to look serious. It's got armored panels, it's got aluminum tent poles.
Okay, everyone be quiet. It's Jamie's nap time now.
It's got a heavy-duty fabric. You crawl inside, and you're safe.
That is awesome.
And with the addition of a spike base that will secure it into the ground,
That is what says I'm not going anywhere in a few hundred miles an hour wind.
That works.
it's ready for some testing. Well, not quite now.
Before we test our tornado shield, we need something to compare it to. That's called a control, and that control is called Adam Savage. I'm going to stand here directly in the wind stream until I can't stand no more, and that will be the point at which we test the tornado shield.
But with no tornado in the forecast, Adam has an intimidating alternative.
It's not every day you stand behind a freaking jet! However, I can step out of the wind stream of the jet's engine at any time, and they can cut it in a moment's notice or a second's notice, so I guess there's nothing to do but proceed.
Okay, fire that puppy up.
For safety, the pilot starts the thrust at just 20%, which allows Adam to heave himself to his start point. Once there, the pilot ramps up the thrust. 30% is 100 miles per hour for our fearless MythBuster. 40%, 110. 50%, 120, and he's still holding. But when the wind hits 130, he gets a knockdown blow. Like a feather in front of a fan, Adam stood no chance.
How you doing?
I'm good. Ah, that was awesome.
Without any protection, Adam lost control at about 130 miles an hour. Now it's time to test the tornado shield.
And just like that, Jamie unpacks his tent and gets ready for the wildest camping trip imaginable.
All right, here's the first test of the human tornado shield. Go ahead and start the engines.
Like last time, the pilot ups the thrust in increments.
Yeah, now he feels it.
One design flaw of the shield is that Jamie can't see out of it. We can only imagine how terrifying it must be as the pilot ups the ante. The shield holds up well as the wind creeps beyond 130, but suddenly, things take a turn for the worse. The suit tears away, and Jamie is left vulnerably exposed. The pilot cuts the engine almost immediately, but like some sort of cyborg, Jamie survives intact.
I was fine. The tornado shield wasn't. They just like all the...
As the wind hit 135, the suit went AWOL, but the pilot cut the engines before any real harm was done.
Problem comes when things start to flap a lot. And at that point, it started to kind of move around to where it actually moved away from me.
But once Jamie collects the shield from the other side of the airport,
It's still all there. Looks like a pin fell out.
it seems all is not lost.
Jamie's gonna make some modifications. He's gonna get right back on that horse and get in front of that jet. That's the spirit.
This was the problem. These things right here, I made pivots so that the whole thing could fold up neatly. They're what actually holds the whole thing to the ground. Because they pivoted, they were allowed to move and they let go of the actual shield. So we're gonna actually bolt them in place and bolt them to the shield. They won't let go this time, and I think I'll stay in place.
So Jamie's going to repitch his tent, and he's more optimistic than ever that his design will use the wind pressure itself to keep him from flying away.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back by popular demand, it's Jamie Heineman in Tornado Shield 2, the Back to the Drawing Board Tour. Jamie, take it away. All right, start those engines. Jamie sounds really impatient in there. He's like, I'm still standing by, as if we've, like, forgotten about him.
At 110 miles per hour, Jamie's finding it a breeze. So the wind speeds increased to 130.
He's now experiencing 130. I'm still fine. It's getting like hell in here, though.
With the suit holding up, the pilot puts the pedal to the metal, increasing the speed to 180. Jamie and the suit are clinging on for dear life, but that seems to be working.
That's 180 miles per hour. I got it. All right, got it.
Incredibly, Jamie and his suit successfully survived an F4 tornado. It's absolutely mission accomplished.
That was 180 miles an hour.
Yeah, baby! 180! It's just flat out terrifying. There's absolutely nothing you can do with that kind of power, except hold on and hope that the rig holds, and by golly, it held.
It held.
It held. I was waiting for the claw to let what's going to let go, but nothing did. It just, I was getting beaten by the surface of this thing.
Wow.
Like being spanked.
The high speed shows just how intense that was. With ice chunks hitting and a 180-mile-an-hour wind, the prototype stood strong.
Nothing prepared me for how devastating that wind was, and our tornado shield, with only one modification, held its ground in 180-mile-per-hour winds with nothing holding it down except some spikes, keeping it from sliding. That is amazing.
I don't know that everybody in the tornado belt is going to want to carry one of these things around, but we saw what happened to an unprotected person. And the simple fact is that if you had one of these and you got in it in a tornado, you'd be safe.
Next, Carrie, Tori, and Grant have hail on the horizon.
All right, so this is an old fisherman's myth. Now, the story goes that a hailstorm can be so intense that it can actually sink a boat.
Does the hail penetrate the boat and make it sink because there's holes in it? Or does it fill up with hail and it sinks because it loses buoyancy?
Don't know, but that's what we're gonna find out.
First, they're going to find out if hail has enough mass to punch a hole in a boat's hull. Carrie's at San Francisco Ice Company on a chilly mission, where science is best served cold.
Hail balls.
And while Carrie's been prepping the ammo, Tori's tracked down the target.
Avast, you scallywags!
To give this myth a fighting chance, we've opted for a single-hulled boat. And by using all the most common materials, we've covered all our bases.
Those common boat hull materials are wood, fiberglass, and aluminum. Will icy projectiles be able to pierce any of them?
And that's where the cannon comes in.
Oh my God, that is ridiculous.
How long is this?
40 feet.
But at hailstone terminal velocity of 80 miles an hour,
That looks solid.
It's like snow glitter.
hurricane strength 150 miles an hour,
Looked like it did some damage, but did not punch a hole through it.
and even at tornado strength 300 miles an hour,
What?
Good hit, but no hole.
they can't get penetration on any of the hulls.
Not a hole.
Yeah, that is definitely not a hole. And you're looking at a hail ball that's traveling 300 miles an hour.
So that method of boat sinking is busted. But could the sheer weight of multiple hailstones sink a boat?
Rough seas ahead!
They've got a plan for one hell of a hailstorm.
We're gonna throw a boat in the water, we're gonna make a huge storm, and we're gonna see what happens.
And they'll wrestle up that record-breaking storm courtesy of a freezer truck and a conveyor belt.
All right, that looks good.
It's time to break the ice.
Here comes the hail!
Woo, it's coming down in buckets. All right, that's 100 pounds.
So we know the record amount of hailfall in an afternoon is 4 feet.
That's 200 pounds. Keep it coming.
So what we're gonna do is fill up our boat completely to the lip with hail.
400 pounds.
If it sinks, this myth is plausible, but if it doesn't sink, this myth is busted.
I can see the boat starting to dip a little.
With the ice already 3 feet deep, the boat is surprisingly buoyant, and Grant knows why.
Here's the catch. See, the ice that we have, it's not just one big block. It's a bunch of little pieces.
500 pounds of hail, and it's still floating.
Which means that air can get in the middle. So you're not entirely displacing the air as you would with water.
All right, that's 600 pounds.
But you can stack the ice higher than the edge of the boat. So at this point, it's not entirely obvious what's gonna happen.
So because ice can't fill every crack and displace all the air, if the guys stand any chance of sinking that boat,
1,500 pounds, still floating.
they'll need to pile that hail high. That extra mass may overcome the boat's buoyancy.
All right, that is a whole entire pallet of ice.
That's a ton of ice.
Yeah, and it doesn't even look close to sinking.
So while the boat's in thick ice, the myth is on thin ice. So they ramp it up to match levels of the most extreme hailstorm in history.
How's it going, Grant?
Are we almost there?
Yeah, we're at 2,500 pounds. It's just a few more inches above water.
But by topping it up with more ice,
All right, we're at 2 tons. It gets more towards the back. Yeah, right there.
the boat finally starts to list. And then,
It's sinking!
That's crazy!
We're sinking the boat with 2 tons of ice!
at last, she's going down. And while the scale of the hail may be unfeasibly large, it is, finally, mission accomplished.
We sunk a boat with hail! That's cool!
Or is it?
Whoa!
I think we got a problem.
It's coming back
Why is the boat not sinking all the way down to the bottom?
Like a phoenix from the ashes, the boat rises from its watery grave.
Maybe there's an air pocket.
So the guys hit the boat with everything they've got.
That's the last of the ice. That's 6,000 pounds down there.
It's still floating. That is incredible.
But why did the boat bounce back? And why is it still not sunk after 3 tons of frozen freight?
So we piled our ice onto the boat, piled it on, piled it on. It's going lower and lower in the water until finally the edge dipped under the surface of the water and it started filling up and it started to sink. And then it popped back up. What the heck is going on? Well, ice floats. So once it hit the water, the ice actually started to support its own weight and was no longer pushing down.
When water flooded into the boat, the ice started to float, which meant it was no longer pushing down the boat. And so it rose from the water, meaning that sinking by hail is a fail.
All right, yeah, we did technically sink the boat, but look at how much hail it took. That's a totally unrealistic amount.
And even with this salvaged, falling apart boat, it didn't entirely sink.
This one's busted.
Busted.